I would defend to the death his right to do everything he does. The thing that I find unusual, and it's not a criticism so much, but his targets are underdogs. And comedy traditionally has picked on people in power, people who abuse their power. Women and gays and immigrants are kind of, to my way of thinking, underdogs. And, he ought to be careful because he's Jewish. And a lot of the people who...
Let's listen to George Carlin foreshadowing many right-wing comics today, shall we?
Well, I think he's appealing largely. I think his core audience are young white males who are threatened by these groups. I think a lot of these guys aren't sure of their manhood because that's a problem when you're going through adolescence. Am I really? Could I be? I hope I'm not one of them. And the women who assert themselves and are competent are a threat to these men, and so are immigrants.
It's almost too on the nose for what I'm about to play. More from Carlin in a moment.
Heard you got deported, dude. Bye.
We turn to this guy. Comedian Theo Von. The story goes as follows. Twitter user Rack would write, a fan told Theo Von their friend got deported, and this was his reaction. Yeah.
So that's why we as an audience then will laugh.
You say we, I don't think you're
no.
But I think you're
collective we.
I think that's what is at the core of that experience that takes place in these arenas. Is a certain, a sharing of anger and rage at these targets.
And just as a reminder.
Well, I said it a long time ago, we're in a pre-fascist state. And I said when fascism comes to America, it will not be wearing jackboots and brown shirts, and it will be wearing Nike sneakers, and it will have smiley face buttons on the Hard Rock
and carrying
t-shirt.
a flag.
Yeah, of course.
And a Bible.
Always that. But I've never been comfortable because I'm at heart a lefty. If I fell out of an airplane, I would land on the left side of that line. The difference that I define the difference between right wing and left wing. People to the right of center. Well, let's start with the people to the left. People to the left of center, liberals, Democrats, populists. They're interested in people, human beings, and human values. People to the right of the line, Republicans and rich people and right wingers, they're interested in property. Property, not people.
Did he miss? No, he didn't. Which takes us back to Theo Von. Commenter Skylar Higley wisely wrote, I hope every comedian, in quotes, who thinks it's all good to just yuck it on up about stuff happening to vulnerable people, faces the consequences of fascism at the hands of the evil people they support. They will. Speaking of support, look at who Vaughn is yucking it up with. Jake Paul, who has been credibly accused of essay. Logan Paul, who has a drink out that targets children despite its insanely high caffeine levels, and filmed himself at a forest in Japan known for unaliving, where he filmed the person who did it. That's just to name a few. And Conor McGregor, who per another lawsuit R-worded a woman in a Dublin hotel. You know what they say, birds of a feather. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
And they're soulless. They're without soul. They don't really care. These Christians don't do Jesus' work, which is to feed the poor and take care of the ones who can't help themselves. That's what their Jesus said. Feed those who have no way. Ones who have nothing going for them. Help them in my name. Don't even want to know about it. Where's that tax return? I want my what do they call it? The rebate. It's goofy.
I think what drives me crazy about all this is the fact that Theo Von will go on his show and will have someone like a Bernie Sanders, and he'll appear relatable, and he'll put out this image of, yeah, I agree with you, man, but I'm also going to platform JD Vance, and I'm going to yuck it up with him. And you know what's going to happen at the end of the day? I'm going to yuck it up with Vance, who wants to take away your rights, does not believe in climate change, is simply put in to be a policymaker. So Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and David Sachs and plenty of others in the top 1% who are former PayPal people, Facebook people, tech bros carry out whatever they wish just so Vance could get a crumb. And then so Vaughn can also get a crumb as well, but a much smaller crumb. And he'll conclude at the end of the day, yeah, tough choice, man, tough choice. No, like I think the Timothy Chalamet interview was really interesting. I think the reaction and reception to seeing Bernie Sanders on his platform showed why the DNC was fearful of that man running and why they did not want a populist agenda, because they have to keep the grift going. But when he does this and he attends Trump's inauguration and he's hanging out with people who are credibly accused of SA and have to pay out fines because of their misconduct, and they have another case going on coming out of the Miami Heat stadium with serious allegations there. Like, I'm sorry, man. This whole thing, he is playing you guys. He could be your favorite comedian. You could stand him, all right? You could stand the hell out of him. I don't care. But it is probably wise at this point to understand what content you are taking in. And there have been studies on how this has affected the male demographic and led them from a comedian's podcast filtering into the right-wing pipeline to then become a part of MAGA for many, many years to come. It's the Rogans, it's the Vaughns, and not comedian podcasts, but the Lex Fremans, the Nelk Boys, the Patrick Bet-Davids. Like, there needs to be a serious understanding from many who take in podcasts that they are not trying to help you out. They are trying to get you to fit into the mold so you could vote for somebody that gives them the tax break. And you continue to give that person that's on the high end of the totem pole your labor at a discount. It's so frustrating, man. It's so incredibly frustrating. But hey, do you? I just want to emphasize one point very quickly, and it is this. You could say whatever you want as a comedian. You can target whoever you wish. But it really says a lot, and I mean a lot, about your character. If you are going after the marginalized, if you are going after the people who suffer from policies that target them to limit their rights the most, it says a lot about you when you choose not to go after the most powerful, not to go after the elitists, not to go after David Sachs or Elon Musk and the top 1% and politicians who are writing these laws that have become mega millionaires overnight because they are aware, in my view, of certain trades as they sit in these meetings and improve their portfolios. It says a lot about you. And I think that's why a lot of people are turned off at this form of comedy, because it's not comedy at the end of the day. It's just downright degrading. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.